Could Harley Davidson become the next big dirt bike manufacturer? Catch you inside.
RevelatorAlf.
Hello, welcome to RevelatorAlf. So another quick video here. Here I'm talking about Harley Davidson as a manufacturer, an American manufacturer of motorcycles. We know what they produce. We know what sort of new models they're trying to bring out. But are they the kind of manufacturer that could be a dirt bike manufacturer to compete with the Japanese, the big four Japanese, but also the much smaller European manufacturers who are starting to gain ground on those big Japanese manufacturers, and also the two Europeans, let's say KTM especially, but Husqvarna as well. You see, many in the dirt bike world, the motocross world, the Enduro world, have been screaming out for an American-based manufacturer as well. Now, the market isn't great. The market isn't huge. However, there are smaller manufacturers out there who are gaining ground. I'm talking of the likes of Beta, Gas, Fantic, and Sherco as well. Now, whilst some are purely individual manufacturers, others have been incorporated into other big manufacturers or are subsidiaries of other manufacturers. It goes to show that there is a market for a small manufacturer out there to start producing small cc 250, 350cc, 450cc motocross or enduro motorcycles. Now, Harley Davidson as a company are no strangers to this. I mean, they obviously had an off-road pedigree back in the day at the turn of the century when they first started. But actually later certainly in the AMF years, they were producing a lot of trail bikes, let's say with the SX series of bikes as well. But actually, crucially, they did produce a motocross, the MX250, in 1977, but it actually came out in 78, and only for a single year. Was it that great? No. However, they did produce a bike. Now, they also produced under license another bike used by the military, the MT350, which actually used an external engine, a Rotax engine. Interestingly enough, the British Army, under a company called Armstrong, which later became a CCM, had the same license and the same bike, essentially, but they used a Rotax 500 engine. So my point here is this, that Harley Davidson could actually produce a motorcycle, but use an external engine provider if they needed. A lot of the manufacturers are producing dirt bikes, but they're using external components, let's say suspension by Showa, external engines, external braking systems. So it doesn't have to be a totally in-house production from Harley Davidson. They can produce small cc motorcycles that can get younger people into the Harley Davidson family, let's say, get them used to the brand, get them used to riding motorcycles full stop, and then obviously develop into the bigger bikes later if they really wanted to. But the market is crying out for an American-based manufacturer that has got a huge dirt bike riding following in the United States, because of the landscape, because of the geography, because of the open access to riding in the United States that other riders from around the world don't have that luxury. If you say here from the UK, we have limited trail riding capability. We do have trail riding capability, but it's very limited where we can actually ride. Then we have motocross tracks and practice tracks, of course, but say it isn't as open access as it is in the United States, or so it appears. So purely just from a domestic market, there's definitely a case to answer here that a big manufacturer like Harley Davidson could produce a motocross bike or an enduro bike, whether it's a two-stroke, whether it's a four-stroke, possibly go into the four-stroke market as an entry bike, possibly a 125 or a 250. Maybe make one motocross, maybe one enduro bike as an initial step into the market. But I certainly think that there is a market for it. I think there is a demand for it. And I think people are crying out for an alternative to the big Japanese. They're crying out for an alternative to KTM and Husqvarna, who are basically market leaders now. But, you know, there are smaller manufacturers, as I said, like Fantic, Gas Beta, Sherco, who are gaining ground as well. And this is where Harley Davidson can come in with their might to actually take this market by storm. I know lots of people will disagree with me on this, but I certainly think that they've got the history, they've had the capability from the past. They can produce motorcycles using external components as well, as I've said with the 350, the MT350. So let's see if anybody's listening in Harley Davidson world as the CEO and actually change a direction for good. I certainly think so. Let us know. Instead of going for the big expensive bikes like this new Pan America or the Revival Icon bike that has just been released, or their other big expensive bikes, let's just go for a small bike and let's just see if they can do it. I'm convinced that they could, and I think that they could produce a really good bike. Let's not forget also that they entered the electric bike world, but there were strong rumours that they were going to produce a smaller mid-range electric dirt bike, let's say. But there was also plans that they were going to produce a small CC motorcycle, the 338, which is primarily for the Asian market and the Indian market. Well, that's where it was going to be targeted. But actually, I think they still got an opportunity with that bike to bring that into the global market as well. I think it's crying out for it. Big bikes for me, I think that's not the way of the future. I think the generation coming forward are going to be looking at small CC bikes that are going to be economical as well. The electrics, yes, but certainly I think there's still a lot of room for 250, 350, 450cc motorcycles or 125cc motorcycles that many people will never associate with Harley Davidson, of course, but I think it's an opportunity for them to grab this market, and I think they could make big waves as well. Anyway, let us know what you think, but I certainly think it's a goer, and I would be interested, and I would certainly be excited by Harley Davidson if they did something like that. Right, it's food for thought. Anyway, let's know what you think in the comments below. But I hope you enjoyed the photos, and well, catch you again on another video. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe. Check out the website, RevelatorAlf.com. Ta-da!